All right, welcome back. We should definitely do better on this because it's been something that we've been on for quite a while, and to yet another scandal where Kenyans have, in fact, lost billions of shillings. Remember, where no less than the head of state said no money had been lost. The Parliamentary Accounts Committee today interviewed key suspect and former hairdresser Josephine Kabura, who, in her testimony to the House today, said she registered 20 companies as the sole proprietor and was awarded billions of shillings as a result.
Just demonstrate how this you carried to what point, because then the forensic expert would assist us through the CCTV on somebody carrying 4 bags or so to a taxi, or whether this money was carried to the next bank. That is the bit I would like to get clearly from you, please.
Thank you, Chair. The money that I mostly withdrew, it was carried using bags, and I would carry a bag at a go.
Which bags? Gunias or what? Gunny bags?
Carry case.
Gunny bags?
The carry case.
Carry, what is that? What is that? You had specific bags for carrying that large amount of cash? You did?
Just a bag that would fit the money.
How much could you fit in one bag?
It could fit 10 or 20, depending on the size of the bag.
10 or 20 million?
More. Yeah.
Chairman,
how far were you taking the money?
Within the same building.
To a car or something?
Yes, to a car.
You're watching their disadvantaged person.
Yeah.
You know,
yes, yes.
So they've said this. Let me just tell the correct context of this thing. Watching this thing was a problem because we had someone who clearly had difficulties of not only expressing herself, but she was obviously concealing something. But most disturbing is that the amount of money you're talking about here, the star witness, 750 plus million, but today we learn that it's 1.6 billion, sole proprietor of these 20 companies.
Yeah.
She says she was just called, she applied for all these things and she just called and she was given all of them. And put this in context that she has, we have no records of her employees of the company. She's never filed for tax returns for that 1.6 billion shillings. That is money that, an organization like this one, or say the NMC for instance, would be happy to make in a year.
Yeah.
But someone walked away with it.
In a bag. Well, it's back to socioeconomics. You can clearly see there's a difference between her and the president's sister. They are both women. They both accessed mysteriously tenders, one in billions, one in millions. But you can see the level of education, the way she expresses herself in terms of the kind of woman you would imagine would be paving way for to access tenders. Unfortunately, it seems like you said, like they're concealing something. Like she is just a figurehead trying to explain away things she doesn't even seem to understand, which was very curious to watch. It was like a train wreck. Because some questions she just kind of phased out and didn't know what to say, which just proves that, as many people have said, there's cartels and cabals of corrupt people in this country who clearly are using a wide range of individuals to get their work done.
It's glad to have you back, Julie.
No, mine is, this is a sign of the clever Kenyans. The clever women, those who are born with the silver spoon in their mouth, taking advantage of these desperate women. You form 20 companies and then she carries 1 billion, she'll give her 5 million or 2 million. No, that's what I'm saying here. This lady does not know what she was doing. Her role was just to be a director who could sign checks or carry money and deliver it to the people who mattered, like the ones we saw before. So, Kafura, anyway, she's a woman anyway. That money
this is why we need to redefine how
it must have gone to
we
help women.
describe disadvantaged groups and whether it's just okay to be female so that you can access these standards.
She looks more of a criminal than a disadvantaged.
No, she looks like she has had socio-economic problems in her life and perhaps educational. Meaning that
socio-economic problems means what?
Maybe I don't know, I'm just assuming or imagining that maybe she came from a lower income background, perhaps, given the way she was trying to
explain. Do you know her background, for
example? I don't. I'm trying to explain
Ibrahim and Julie, let me say this. First of all, I feel sorry for that lady. And in this country, we have something called unclear circumstances. I hope she doesn't meet it on the way. Clearly, this lady is doing a bidding of somebody else who is mighty, who cannot be exposed. And to be told that there was no money lost, I feel like, personally as a Kenyan, I was insulted by all the politicians, led by people like Duale, telling us that no money was lost, and political scientists telling us that whoever is Lord of Poverty. I feel insulted as a Kenyan.
And let me say something. I covered this story. There's an instance where she was even given money, even before she registered some of these companies. There are companies where she was given money just 2 days after it was registered. You know, she's just a victim of so many things. And
Circumstances.
Yeah.
Is it circumstance? I don't know.
Or fate.
Victims of crime. But most importantly is that, yeah, I have forgotten what I wanted to say.
Actually, yeah, most importantly, let's finish for Ibrahim.
We need to reframe the entire system of laws that governs getting tenders from government. That's all I'm saying, because you can't just say on the basis of the fact that I'm female or I'm a young person or I'm disabled that I should access these tenders, because clearly people have found loopholes.
Julie, female is being used in this context to loot the national treasury.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying you can't just say that
So
that's enough.
Can you abandon that word of female?
I have said the youth and I have said people living with disabilities,
And youth is
because
not a
those,
permanent condition anyway.
but those are
Most
the groups who fall under the 30% rule to access tenders.
Our
yes.
justice system is not restitutive.
All right.
Yes.
Now, Josephine Kabura, like all the other witnesses, showed up in Parliament with a battery of lies and diversion tactics. At one time, Ms. Kabura claimed she paid out 100 million shillings to some of her suppliers who she couldn't even recall their names, and that she didn't have any particular contacts at the NYS, and that she was just simply called by the procurement department and was awarded the multi-billion contracts. Take a listen.
Show us one receipt which you received for paying 1.6 billion shillings, or a schedule where somebody signed to show that they received 1.6 billion. These are monies which were received by your company. This is the tabulation. I'm asking your companies, 20 of them, 1.6 billion.
Yeah,
Show us one. And
with the LPOs that I was issued,
yes.
and I did deliver all the items that I was supposed to deliver, and that was what I was paid for. Otherwise, I did not steal any money, and
how much tax did you pay on this, and where is the proof? How much tax did you pay on this money, and where is the proof? Have you ever filed returns to carry?
No proof to that. Chair.
Have you ever filed returns to the Kenya Revenue Authority? Please let her answer. Have you ever filed returns to the Kenya Revenue Authority?
I was in the process of...
No. Have you ever filed returns? It's a yes or no answer. Have you ever filed returns to the Kenya Revenue Authority?
No, Chair.
It's a yes or no answer. Was there corruption at NYS?
Women.
Actually.
No, they likely there was corruption at
Likely.
NYS. Yes, it's all indications are that there was corruption at NYS. But I think by battering this woman in terms of the interrogation process and trying to put her in such a tight corner, they're not going to get the answers. She's stonewalling them.
But there was no options. I mean, she's on 3 occasions she's been summoned. She's failed because she got sick. Her lawyer traveled, you know.
I think that's the basic way that you're seeing how corruption works at a very basic level. You just put money in bags and walk away with it. You don't worry about taxes. You don't worry about anybody else. But clearly she's been used by somebody, and they as a committee should realize that they're not going to get answers from this woman. No matter how many times they question her.
I will agree with her that the level of grilling was too harsh to a person probably who is stepping in such an official position for the first time. Not confronting this guy.
But hang on, this is someone who has 1.6 billion in her account.
She was being told what to do.
She is carrying for other people. She's a carrier.
We don't know that.
That's what she said.
The person who today we can say her companies were paid money, a sole proprietor,
Yeah, that's true.
was Josephine Kabura. And
Yes,
those are the
yes,
facts.
yes,
So
yes,
we can assume
yes.
that she's the person who had the money.
That's true. But you even applying your small...
Like, do I
mind.
believe
Yes.
that she still has the money in her account?
Does she look like a person with 1.6 billion? No, she doesn't. She was just a victim of crime.
And for somebody who doesn't even understand that she needs to be filing tax returns, James, do you really think that she had the capacity to imagine this web of corruption that managed to get 1.5 billion out of government coffers?
Smart, I think we are missing the point here. The bigger point is she had 20 companies, all of them tendering against each other. These companies, from what we've been told, they were not paying taxes. So somebody must have failed, because I believe for you to tender for a government, for a government project or whatever, you must be tax compliant among other stringent measures. How did
Well,
are
I've
these
just learned
bypassed?
today, and I've just learned today that you don't need to actually have your tax compliance or everything for you to tender for these things. I've just learned today.
Do you believe that she even has a mind to tender a document? For example, I'm not trying to
Without
be rude.
casting aspersions on her character, but just by the way she was answering questions.
It is an intellectual question,
Okay.
not her moral. But does she have the mind to even respond to letters of expression or something like that? She doesn't know anything, and these companies were not conceived to tender. They were conceived to loot, to create a front for this woman to flourish. That's why she's dealing with the gunny bags of money.
So one of the things that she said, again, just to put it in context, that why she had so many companies and sometimes we tender for the very same thing, is that to have a high chance of getting that control. So the government works like sport pesa or anything. What is it that the more you enter, the better your chances of getting this.
I just think that the purpose of interviewing her again and again is just to muddy the waters, let me use my favorite term, and just take our attention away from who was actually instructing that these companies be set up and be paid. That was where the corruption happened, but we don't know who's pulling the strings. And by following her around and asking her the same questions over and over, we're not going to find it out.
When this scandal broke out, it was in June last year, and the then CS called Waiguru called a press conference to clarify, she used more or less the same lines, that you bring in so many companies to enhance your chances. So it's
mine is simple.
You
see, smart. Mine is very simple. I live with one word. That sisi kama wananchi mnataka tufanye nini? Guy.
Right. Finally, on NYS, members of the Public Accounts Committee were enraged with Ms. Kabura's theatrics, and the chairman of PSC, Nicholas Gumbo, was forced to restrain Ms. Kabura's lawyer, who was hell-bent on distracting proceedings. Now, tempers flared as members of Parliament were infuriated by truckloads of lies and wanted to end the proceedings prematurely. The committee eventually agreed to finish the sessions on camera.
Her Majesty Lady Kabura, could you kindly demonstrate to us how you carried 52 million from the bank to which taxi? I'd go back to that.
Because the forensic... respect, Chairman, I would beg to state that that question had been asked and it has been answered.
And it was not answered. Wakili, please.
If you have
Wakili, please, if a question has not been...
No,
Wakili, if a question has not been answered and we know we are leading somewhere, it must be answered.
Wakili, you have to show respect to the committee. You can't turn it into a dialogue. If you want to speak, you speak through the chair, please.
Chair, I thought I did request, and my statement is that this question had been asked
and had not been answered
several times.
No. What Honorable Sele is saying, the answer that was given is not satisfactory.
Can you repeat?
Right.
Can they repeat the answer?
So please just make a note for his benefit.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, and there's a sequence to these things, and there's actually a way on how to do these things. All these, people who've come before PAC, they've, Gedi and the rest, they came with a battery of lies. They could not remember where they were born and the school that they went to. They could not remember the person who they gave money to, or part of the people who gave them contracts. They just can't remember almost anything. And this is the frustration I think the members of Parliament had to deal with. But then again, the quality of the House and that sort of thing, comes together. So that's the point of discussion for another day. But here's the thing. What will they get? Because I can't see anything. They seem not getting anything out of this thing.
No, it's Parliament is not doing this for conviction. I think even through her own demeanor, they are developing some position about who she is and what happened, right? If a person is so insincere, you need to be told that now, you can come there and speak endlessly, but again, it's just taking you through a ride. So we are also, as we listen to her, she stonewalls and we note those. We are taking note of her character. Even now, from your own observation, you are not on the committee, but from the television, you are able to know that this person is a dishonest person.
But then to what end? Because we are looking for answers.
Okay.
I can say it's a waste of the taxpayers' money. Let them go for the big fish, or else this will just be a charade, yeah?
But it doesn't
running
work
around
like
in
that.
circles as usual.
Truth, it doesn't work like that. We'd want that, but this is the thing, that there's a process. There's someone who
Yes.
we followed.
And
you know,
most
money was made.
Yes.
Companies are
Yes.
registered. So we have to
Yes.
interview her. We have to find out.
Yes, yes. And Parliament is simply doing its work. We may not convict her, we may not take her to a firing squad, but we shall make recommendations that we shall remain on Hansard forever and ever. So when your great-grandchild comes, she reads, she knows, hey, these people were thieves. So that's the only solace we have.
I think the thieves would be happy with the great grandsons
Yes.
reading about, because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
in politics, you know.
Yeah.
And what sort of
Yeah, when your great-grandchild is paying 70,000 the minute he's born to pay off this debt, he'll be like, the thieves got away with it, and he's really going to be annoyed about that.
I think it's more than 70.
I can assure you, but I think that, Oruko, you've infected me. I've forgotten what I was going to say.
Yeah, as you
The matter is very serious.
But I'm just saying, we do a dance with this corruption thing, where somebody does something, it's exposed somehow. There's a commission of inquiry, there's a parliamentary commission, there's a EACC, and we go round and round. At the end of the day, we don't have any answers, and we've never had. So maybe we should change the way we investigate corruption as well.
No.
And all of them have sitting allowances.
The systems have not been defined to get answers. As you said,
It was exactly what
EACC
I'm
is not
saying.
running in to help us, but to try
Cover
to
up.
cover up.
Exactly
All
what
right.
I'm saying. So it's a dance that gets us nowhere.
Finally, away from corruption and that sort of thing that makes us forget what you want to say, Mombasa Obama has said that she has snubbed a chance to have a meeting with President Uhuru Kenyatta, since she does not want to be, and I quote her, to be seen to have betrayed her local community. It is not clear from State House whether a meeting was in fact being planned and why the president sought this meeting. Sarah Obama shot to celebrity status when her grandson, that's Barack Obama, rose to be president of the United States of America. Here we are.
Yeah, well, she reserves the right to meet who she wants to meet and who she doesn't want to meet. Personally, I'd like to meet the president because he seems very personable and charming.
You would be, in fact, you know, committing a crime to your community.
If I, okay, fine, perhaps, but just as a matter of interest, because it seems very cultured, etc., etc. But as a president and as a leader of this country, I've got so many disappointments, and that might be conflicting, which may be where she's coming from, given that her grandson is Barack Obama, and his ideals are very high.
So she's on a moral ground.
She's on a moral high ground.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, when we enacted the 2010 Constitution, one of the key tenets was to demystify the presidents. This excitement around the president. I know she's dying.
To meet them.
I am
but you will
not dying.
get.
I am still very much alive.
No, you're dying for that opportunity.
Until I meet him, yes.
So, one of the reasons was to demystify this thing called the president. It's just a normal guy, a normal neighbor, you know. But those who still believe that if you, that golden handshake can bring you can make you a disadvantaged Kenyan.
What do you mean?
Strictly speaking, I'm already disadvantaged because I'm
So
female.
that you get the millions, the tenders.
But I feel her. I
point.
feel Mama Sarah Obama. I feel her.
That's
It's
me.
no joke down there. So
No joke down where?
where she comes from.
Well, I'll just say she reserves the right to meet who she wants to meet and to refuse to meet who she doesn't want to
And
meet.
when
whether
the society
Her
she's,
reasons are her reasons.
she's a senior citizen also.
Yes.
So yeah, what has she never seen in her life? After all, her grandson is the
Well,
most
she's
powerful guy.
never met the president, so that's one
Retiring,
thing
yeah?
she hasn't done in her life.
Yeah.
Jole Masiga, Ibrahim Muruko, Jakania Tieno. Gentlemen, lady, thank you very much for your thoughts and helping us breaking down the issues on news sources tonight. Up next is Kate in Prime. Don't go too far.